Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I have another great show for you today. I have another real estate entrepreneur named Caleb Caleb Bryant with me. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I got the name right the first time, and then I hit the record button and I mess it up.
It's like trying to tie your shoes on a basketball court. It's a lot harder.
It's a lot. All the eyes are looking at you.
Yeah.
It's bad. Well, while I screw that up, I apologize. Why don't you introduce everybody to who you are, where you are in the country, and what do we mean by real estate entrepreneur?
Well, like you said, I am Caleb Bryant, and I'm here in Huntsville, Alabama, and I live here because I saw it as a good market to invest in. So I actually moved to where I was making money. And then as far as being a real estate entrepreneur goes, I have a hard time sticking to one thing. So when one area of business is a little slower, I'll move over to another area and adapt as I go. So I've been involved in multifamily properties, single family properties, private money, wholesaling. So a lot going on here.
Awesome. So let's answer the big question that at least I would have if I was listening to this. Where did you move from to Huntsville, Alabama?
I moved from Nashville area, so just south of Nashville in Franklin, Tennessee, and then I moved there because of music and good networking. So I'm originally from Blacksburg, Virginia.
Gotcha. So you went to Nashville. Your hope and dreams were music. Not to put words in your mouth, but that's kind of what I take away from that. Then you dig into real estate investing, see what's possible, and you're like, you know what? The market I want, Huntsville. I'm going there. Is that kind of fair?
It's very close. I didn't want to invest in Nashville because it costs 3 times as much for everything. So I started investing down here, and then I was like, well, why am I driving 2 hours? I'll just go down there and be close to where everything's happening. So,
Oh, very cool. And just so you know, Link has made his way into the view. Hi, Link, your little puppy.
yep, Link is very jealous of carpet.
Can't come in, not allowed. Everybody, that's why we're joking. So okay, so let's talk about. So Nashville is 3x more expensive. When did you make the switch? When did you move from Tennessee to Huntsville?
So, well, as far as time frames of where I had quit my job. I had realized that I was making more money in real estate, and if I took the 8 to 9, even sometimes 10 hours a day at work away and focused those on real estate, I was going to make more money. But then also, my wife, she worked at the same W-2 that I did, and she was there for a lot longer than I was. And then one day I was like, hey, I already replaced your income, so if you want to quit, you can. And so the day she put in her 2 weeks, I started looking for homes down here, and we went ahead and moved.
All right. So I'm sorry. When was that? Like yesterday or like 10
Oh,
years ago?
so the actual move happened October last year, and
Okay.
I've been investing down here for a few years now.
All right. So you're in Nashville. You get your feet wet. You find the markets. You're doing the drive. You replace the wife's income. Do you replace that with what were you replacing with? Buy and hold, wholesaling fees. How did that sort of come about?
Uh, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Mostly, so the very first deal I did was I invested in a syndication.
Okay.
So I built some cash flow through syndications. I built some cash flow through owner finance deals, and then from everything to make up the difference would be wholesale fees or transactional type stuff like that.
Very cool. So you get some active income and some what's called passive income, which is never really passive. But I guess syndication is truly passive. Buy and hold, semi-passive. As a buy and hold guy myself, I always laugh when people call that passive. I'm like, well, I don't know about totally passive. But anyway, so okay, so that's great. Then you make the decision for yourself. You exit. You jump in with both feet. That has to feel good, right? You make the logical choice, right? I can take 8 hours a day that I'm committing to the work, which is, oh, by the way, prime time hours, and you can now convert that to real estate. So, was it just an easy decision, or did you have to debate it, the security versus the risk? How did that go down in your mind?
Yeah, it was not difficult. So I feel like it'd be more difficult for someone that was making six figures a year or something like that. But it's just not that hard to get a job that makes me that much money.
Okay.
I knew there was no threat. I could easily go get another job like that tomorrow, anytime.
Okay.
So if I failed, I wasn't in a bad spot.
Yeah. So in other words, you're like, hey, there's no real downside, right? I always say control the downside. Upside will take care of itself. Yeah. Your downside was, I'll just go get another job in Alabama, or maybe worst case, go back to Nashville. I don't know.
I saw the downside of staying there because the upside at that job wasn't very high.
Right.
I could only go so far, and even then, that would just make it more time intensive and really not that much more money intensive. So that it just made it easy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you dive in, you give your 2 weeks, you make the move. Now you're a full-time, I use the term real estate entrepreneur when you kind of bucketize everything. Is it still just you and the wife, kind of a tag team show, or did you grow a company? Is Relentless Capital Group a team of 20 people, or what's the deal?
So I never invest alone. I always have a team.
Awesome.
And the team will be different depending on what strategy I'm using. So I have 2 partners in Birmingham, Alabama that help me with multifamily deals. And then I have a partner here in Huntsville as well, and we do the majority of my single family deals. I've done a few like private money investments with other people, but that's I build teams around each segment.
Awesome. I love that quote, never invest alone. I think we already found the title of your video, never invest alone. But let's peel that back and make sure I understand it, because it's a sexy quote. So does that mean somebody in the partnership or the joint venture or whatever you want to call it is the money and the other person's the time? Or is it, hey, you give me 50 grand, I'll put 50 grand? Is it always equal? Or what do these kind of never invest alone really mean?
So it's every deal can look different, but it's more about the type of partner you're looking for. So it's finding what you're good at. For me, it's connecting with people. It's it's networking. It's being able to bring in other people's money or private money from other people to get our deals done. And then like Evan, Evan is my single family business partner.
Okay.
He's a closer. He goes to appointments, and he can get a house under contract, and he does all this stuff that I wouldn't necessarily be good at, but together we can do a lot more because he's getting more leads, and we hopefully have more money coming in on the closed deal side, and then he's able to go close all these owners that we brought in through marketing. So
very, very cool. So one of the things I always close with is we talk about some tips and tricks or whatever, but let's just jump into one now, because you kind of hear, it's kind of like buy and hold real estate in regards to partnerships, right? When it works, it works.
Yeah.
However, often heard are the horror stories. So why don't we talk about what it takes to have a good partnership, and what do you do before any money is exchanged or put in together? How do you vet? How do you test? What does that really look like for you?
So like with Evan, I connected with him through a networking event, and then he followed up with me, which, first of all, a lot of these people don't even follow up. So that's already a good start. So he followed up with me and was like, hey, let's meet up sometime. Let's see what your goals are. I want to see if I can help you. So we got pizza here in Huntsville and talked about what we were looking at, or what I was looking for. And he had a lead in, it was pretty far south in Alabama, in Gadsden, Alabama. So it was like an hour and a half drive. And we decided to go look at it together. And through that drive, I started to learn more about him, learn some of his character, learn what some of his goals were. And that's when I initially started. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
No, it's fine.
That's when I initially started seeing, okay, I like his mindset. I like what he's what he's about, his integrity. And then going through the process of working through that deal and the due diligence, I could see the technical aspects of it too.
Okay.
So we never did that deal. It ended up falling through because of some numbers that they just didn't work. But that experience and that time really helped me build that relationship.
All right. So again, so what I took from that is networking events are critical, which you always say this business is not, it's a people business. Go meet people, have goals to meet new people, and then really truly vet them, right? You vet them on the drive, you see how they work. I don't know if you want to call it testing them. You're certainly in the beginning, you're always looking for red flags. I mean, you didn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to, I'm guessing just based on some of the words you used, is Evan a little bit older than you?
Yeah, he is. Not much. I believe he's 33, and I'm 27. So a couple years old.
All right. Did he have more experience in real estate than you?
In real estate overall, I don't believe so, but in single family real estate, yes.
Okay.
So, because I typically want someone that does have more experience than me.
Sure.
But I had started studying multifamily when I started about 4.5, 5 years ago. So,
okay.
I knew very little about single family.
Got it. So again, you're looking for people to compliment you, right? If you're going to stick your toe in the water with single family, you wouldn't go to your multifamily connections, right? You'd want somebody there. So you found Evan, and it makes total sense.
They take a whole different approach. So
yeah, exactly. As somebody who owns both, yes, it takes a different approach. So let's talk about multifamily. So when you say multifamily, is that as small as a duplex, or when you say multifamily, it's 20 and above, or what's multifamily to you?
So the smallest multifamily property I've invested in is 75 units.
The smallest is 75. All right.
Yeah. And like, if I'm going into a new market, I would want it to be 100 plus because of the economies of scale, being able to have an on-site manager, things like that. But yeah, I don't like small multifamily unless it's really close to me.
Right, of course.
So, and I haven't found those. So,
all right. So, what was the first multifamily? I think you said it was a syndication was your first thing. What was that first one?
Yeah, so it was a 192 unit in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
And that deal came to me through networking. I met one of the sponsors of that deal, and I had been listening to his podcast for a while anyway, so I was familiar with him. Okay. And then I met him in person and built that relationship, and then finally the deal came along, and I had been on the sidelines, looking for a deal for a long time, and I read through the whole
prospectus and
the offering memorandum, and was like, man, I just need to do something. Okay. So it was finally time to take action.
Nice.
It was a good start. It helped me learn a lot about how syndicators interact with investors, about business plans, about good marketing, about communication. So it's been a good experience. And then on top of it, it helped me quit my job because it created cash flow, which is what I got into real estate for, was
nice
to create cash flows.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the whole goal to all of this is that cash flow, so you can have choices, right? You're basically buying time is what I tell people, right? With the cash flow. So did you ever actually go see the property, right? I'm not sure where you are. You're in Nashville, or maybe you're in Alabama when this deal comes along. Do you actually ever go to Texas and check it out?
So I haven't been to visit that property. No. Okay. Most of the time I do, but this one, I was very comfortable with it because the area reminded me of the Cool Springs area in Tennessee, but like maybe 5-10 years ago. So I could see the growth. I could see all the right things in place. I was familiar with this type of area, and it was a nice B class area with some A class retail and things around. So I felt very comfortable with it. And I did get someone to make sure there was a building there and send me a video, but that beyond that, no.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's part of the things you see with syndication, right? Syndicators are beating the bushes all around the country. and as part of the money, you're taking a leg or a segment or whatever you want to call it of the deal. Do you know by chance how many other investors are in that deal besides you, or do you not know?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I saw,
Yeah,
but I've invested in a couple other deals, and so it all just runs together.
yeah. But that's kind of the part of syndication, right? You don't commit all the capital, right?
Oh,
And
no.
you're getting, usually with these, you're getting a fixed return a quarter usually, and then you get part of the upside at the refi or whatever. Do you remember on this deal, was it kind of a 5-year, 10-year value add hold and exit, or what's the exit look like?
This was a 5-year hold, and I couldn't tell you what the rent per unit increase was going to be, but it was a very clean asset that because of the area with the A retail, with the properties surrounding this property, there was a significant upside for just making it that class B plus, strong B plus asset.
Yeah.
Where this was more of a B minus. The previous owner was a hedge fund, and they had done a few units, but they didn't really have a system for upgrading.
Yeah.
And they didn't even do, I think it was less than 20%. Okay. So even with the lackluster effort, they were getting a significant upside. And so we saw that in underwriting. We're like, okay, let's
go. let's create a process and system. Very, very cool. So when you look at your business today, kind of like 2019, I'm trying. Usually by now I can sort of put my finger on what keeps you busy, but with you, I'm not sure. Right? Are you really just opportunity specific? Like whatever comes across your desk, you look at and go, okay, yes, no, or what are you looking to add to your portfolio?
Oh, okay. So adds the portfolio. Well, I'll just give you basically 2 sets of things that I would like.
Okay.
I want to be in the single family space. I'd like me and Evan to be able to do 6 deals a month. And that could mean, when I say do, I mean close.
Got it. Good point.
We get involved with that many deals every month, but we don't always close them. So close 6 deals a month, and that could be we'll do a few wholesales in there. We'll probably pick up a few that we owner finance out because we like cash flow, but I don't necessarily like single family tenants, not because of the tenant, but simply because of the management.
Yep.
So the less management I can have, the better.
Okay.
And then in the multifamily, we're out looking. So we're closing a refi, hopefully this week, or definitely by the end of the month.
Okay.
It's been a fun process. And once that's closed, we're going to be hitting the phones hard, looking for a 300 to 400 unit portfolio, 2 or 3 properties, and with the bulk of those hopefully being in Birmingham area.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about one thing you said there that I think some people will catch and go, what is that? Owner finance out. This is for the single family, you and Evan. What does that mean for everyone?
So we'll buy a property, and there's a lot of people that don't have a 660 credit score, but they make a good income, and they have the means to buy. They just don't have the credit to buy through traditional financing. We'll buy a house, and we'll just finance it to them. And basically, if they have the means to repay it, then we want to help them buy their own place that they can be proud of, but also they can be building their credit over that time frame.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool little strategy, and helps the neighborhood and helps people get out of renting and into a place of their own. Wow.
So I like what you just did there. So you're basically creating income streams, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So you buy an asset. Are you always buying that asset for cash, repairing it, and then selling on owner financing? Or do you sometimes buy with owner financing at a reduced rate, do a wrap, and then sell it to someone else at a higher rate, kind of interest rate arbitrage? Or what are you doing?
Yes, you can do that. There are so many ways to do it that, I mean, we could talk about that all day. Sometimes we'll do the lease option, where we actually just lease the property and get the option to buy it. and have that built in. It might be $300 or $400 in cash flow.
Yeah.
But then we also do that with like mortgage wraps. So like you said, maybe we get it financed for, we'll say 6%, and then we'll be able to go in and do it at 9.5%. But the goal for the buyer is not to pay the full term of the loan.
Yeah.
It's to refinance into real like real bank financing as soon as they have built up the credit profile to where they could do that. Because in the long run, that's where they're going to save the most money and they're going to have the best advantage.
So do you actually own any rentals, or are you, I mean, maybe you own them for a sliver of time? No rentals. You are a bank, basically.
Yeah.
A lender, maybe not a bank, a lender.
I'm not a single family rental owner.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Is that different for 100 units and above where you actually own them and you want to keep them long term?
Yes. And the reason is because my manager's there. I have a maintenance guy there. I don't have to pay 10% or 8% depending on your market for that management. It's more like 4%.
Yes.
4.5%.
Yeah.
So that's huge for me. It also there's bigger amounts of equity. It's just a faster growth, easier growth, and easier management.
Very, very cool. So this is awesome. You are running a very elegant business and very impressive.
Appreciate it.
I'm very impressed. So let's go back to how this all started. I'm curious. What was the light bulb or trigger or whatever that said, you know what, I want to go do real estate? Was it Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that damn purple book, or what was it for you?
No, I didn't read that until a little later. That made me sell my Mercedes, but
sell that damn toy.
Yep. So I after high school, I didn't really want to go to college, and the reason is because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So there you go. And I don't like spending money if I don't know what I'm spending it for.
Perfect. So
I decided to go on tour with a band. I played bass and toured around the country with a couple different bands, and then I went to the Nashville area to learn more about audio engineering. So went to like a trade school.
Okay.
In Franklin, and while that was a great experience and super fun and a cool hobby, it's not something that I want to make money doing because you have to follow certain systems and you have to do it a certain way, and that makes it less fun.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I needed to find something where I could actually make money. And my parents were like, hey, we know a lot of people doing real estate. My dad has done a little bit in real estate as well. And so they connected me with some people in their network who were doing it. And it piqued my interest. None of them were doing multifamily. So I had to find that on my own. But just seeing what they were doing got me into the game.
Okay. Very good. Shout out to your parents. Nice job.
Yeah.
Very.
I think it was Ken McElroy's book that got me locked on multifamily. ABCs of real estate.
ABCs of real estate. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. All right. So you get the spark from your parents, their network. You grow to multifamily. You now have this business where you kind of arbitrage single family homes. You adding units and big units. Any idea what you'll be doing in 3 to 5 years? Is it kind of like more of the same rinse and repeat, or any idea?
Well, in 5 years, I would love to have a couple thousand units in the multifamily space. In the single family space, I want a completely automated business that's packaged in a way that's sellable. But I don't know as though I'll sell it per se. I just want it to be that buttoned up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So because I get this question sometimes in comments, when you say you want to have a couple of thousand units in apartments or multifamily, are those actually your units, or you're in a portfolio and you own a sliver of 1,000 units?
So I would be partnered, but I don't mean like I'm a LP or a passive investor. I would be an active investor. So most likely a joint venture type structure.
Okay. And just is that 2x bigger than today, 4x? I mean, what's the growth rate from now to 5 years? How much growth are we talking?
That's shoot. I I don't know.
Well, is it double?
I've got as far as active multifamily units, I have 2 properties, and it's a little over 170 units.
Okay.
I've invested in, I guess, almost 600 or almost 620 units
Okay.
In multifamily. So it'd be a significant amount of growth, and
As
on
it
the
should be.
yeah.
As it should be. I mean, you've got it. It's working. I'd be disappointed if you said a double, right? Oh, I'm going to go from 2,000 to 4,000 or 200 to 400.
I'm hoping to double before the end of the year, like I said.
Exactly. There we go. Now we're talking.
So,
All right. So something I want to add to these interviews is where we kind of give back. And I don't know if you want to, I always hate the term tips and tricks. Let's call it lessons learned or advice. You're clearly successful. Let's pretend you're in front of a room of 20 people who are stuck on zero. They have the interest, they have the spark, but they're stuck on zero. What would be a couple of pieces of advice you would give them to get them off zero?
well, first off, if they're in this room, they already took that first step. So that's a good start. And that's where I started. It was just getting on Bigger Pockets and talking to people, finding people in my area, meeting them, having coffee, seeing what's working for them in real estate, and going to the local RIA meetings and meeting the people who are killing it in your market. That's a great first step. For me, I knew that I was going to have to partner. Well, I knew that I wanted to partner with somebody, and here's why. Because someone with experience is going to help me avoid huge mistakes. And you can read all you want, but when the deal's there and you're investing money, you're going to miss something because you don't know what to look for necessarily.
Yeah.
So I want that person with experience around me. And that could be what you're looking for when you're at the event like that. So to the new people at the event, I say, I would say, who here's done 5 deals or more this year?
Okay.
All right, go talk to them.
No, exactly. Yeah. Very cool. And then what do you think about, because you obviously moved to the market where you wanted to invest. A lot of people I speak with that follow me are kind of in the California market because that's where I am. It's very expensive here. So I always say live where you want, but invest where it makes sense.
Yeah.
What's your advice on that? Do you have to live in the market you invest in?
No, but you have to have a team of people you trust. Me and Evan, we sell to California investors all the time. That's probably one of our biggest buyers. So it's finding those. Maybe you need to find a few wholesalers in a market that are good and find a few managers in a market that are good. I would recommend at least visiting the market.
Yes.
That way you have an idea, and it also helps people know that you're serious.
Yeah.
They know if you took the effort to go there that you're going to close a deal.
Well, I got to tell you this much: if you're not willing to go see the market up front, I tell you not to invest. Yes, I mean, just think about what you told us earlier in this interview, right? You got to know Evan on a 2.5-hour drive, right?
Yeah.
And in that time, you would have had just as much opportunity to go, this guy's a deadbeat, right? I'm out, right? As soon as this is over, I'm never talking to him again. You can't really do that over the phone in a 5-minute conversation. You have to see how they interact. You have to see how they treat other people. You have to see how they work. I mean, go to the place. So
that little tip you said, I want to highlight it. Anytime I'm with someone new, I see how they treat people. I'll say it as like regular people.
Yeah.
How do they treat the waitress? How do they treat the people walking down the street? I've been with brokers that didn't necessarily treat people the way I wanted them, or I feel they should, and I avoided that simply because of that. Little things.
Oh yeah.
But
character reveals itself in the most interesting and unknowing spaces and times, and that's what you're seeking in this is character. So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. So okay, so let's turn it over to you now. So let's, a lot of California investors watch this. How could a California investor reach out to you? What are you offering them? Let's give some value to you now.
Well, for me, I just want to help people hit their goals. I'm confident that I'm gonna make enough sales to get by or whatever, but I want to make sure I'm selling things that I believe in, that I believe is a good deal. So when me and Evan are doing a wholesale deal, we want to make sure the numbers work for the person. And that's why, like my friend James Gates from California, he's bought with us 6 times this year because
wow, this year it's only April 23rd.
Yeah, and his goal for the year is 12. So I was like, man, we're gonna beat that. But they keep, they keep coming back. It's a good relationship when you do it the right way. They can reach me. I mean, they can text me, call me 615-752-8520. They can look at my partner's website for a single family. Uh-huh. It's redkeyproperties.com. That's RHED properties.com. And that's my partner, Evan, and his family on there. But you can reach out to either one of us, and we're happy to help.
Very, very cool. So, Caleb, do me a favor. One more time, give your phone number just in case they missed it.
Yeah, 615-752-8520. Still repping the Nashville area code.
Good for you. Can't let that go.
Nope.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you very much for giving your time. This has been fun. I always love talking to real estate entrepreneurs, and to see how you have you take the approach in single family you're treating this way, in large apartment buildings you're treating another way is fantastic. And I can't wait to see what you accomplish in the next decade or so. It's going to be very impressive. And thank you again for your time.
I appreciate that, Michael.
You got it, buddy. Take care.